Morning everyone, this is Seah once again. Thanks for joining me this morning. Today I'm going to play with something similar to the AeroPress, which I purchased recently because I want to find out is there any taste difference between the two coffee brewer. One is the AeroPress and the other one which I'm going to play with today is actually a Delta Press. I'm quite sure it has been done with many other YouTubers before, but this is my own take on how I like this device to make coffee for me. Right, so let's get started. And before we continue, do consider hitting the subscribe and like button now. It does help us a lot so that we can continue to make a lot of good video for all of you. Right, so first of all, this brewing method is completely different from the AeroPress, because AeroPress I can steep the coffee for as long as I like, but for this system I actually have to push water through to where the coffee sits, and then the water will actually shoot out from here. Right, depends on how much force you apply. The water can jet out really fast and with some significant impact, which will actually disrupt your coffee ground. So depending on how hard you push the water through here, you can actually have some impact on your extractions of coffee. And you can see I've recycling the filtered coffee paper, right? Yeah, I find that this piece of paper, just like AeroPress paper, you can keep reusing them until you start to show signs of breaking down. Not trying to save money, but I'm doing my bits to try to save the environment. Right, so this is a good way. Just make sure it's dry. Right, you can have one or two. One is while drying, you can use the other one. And for today's coffee, it's going to be something interesting. This is a coffee sample that was sent to me quite a while ago from Japanese roaster, which actually ferment this in the brandy barrel or whiskey barrel. I can't remember who. Right, this is their logo. Right, this is the only sample they give us. So I'm going to try this coffee. This coffee has been roasted quite some time back, but you can see there are some oils on the surface, which means that it's on a slightly darker roast. So let me try this with Delta Press and see how the taste is like. Right, so first, usually what I want to do is I want to weigh how much coffee is here, so that I can decide how much water I want to use. So let's just put the beans inside this right, it's about 14 grams of coffee. Right, so I'm going to do around the same as my filter coffee ratio, which is around 1:15. So with approximately 15 grams of coffee, I'm going to use about 220 grams of water. And I'm not going to use any electric grinder today. I have not been using my Comandante C40 for a while, so I thought I'd just use it for today. So let's just pour the bean in. The grind size has been adjusted to quite slightly finer than the usual filter coffee grind size that I've used. And the grind time on the Comandante is pretty long. Not the best efficient grinder that I've owned. Right, definitely takes much longer to grind as compared to my other grinders such as the Easy Presso or the King grinder. So if you do not want to watch this part, you can just press the fast forward or skip to the section that you want to watch. And for my grinding, I usually grind like a cycling. So you can see I'm turning the grind while I'm also pushing my grinder. Okay, almost done. Just a few more beans to go. I can still hear some beans inside though. Ah, there it goes. Okay. So it should be clean. Right, let's smell the coffee bean. I don't know why there's okay, these are actually the bigger pieces here, actually the coffee chaff. So these are the chaff, so they are not the grinded pieces. Right, so let's try this coffee now. And because it's a slightly darker roast, I'm going to reduce my temperature to 90 degrees. Let's do it at 88. Right, it should be brought to boil, brought to the temperature I want pretty quickly. Right, and the way that we do on the Delta press is slightly different. Right, so first of all, right, you have to pour the coffee ground here. Right, the Comandante catch cup fit nicely on the Delta press as well. Right, so leave it there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to wet the filter paper with some water. So I'll do this off camera. Right, so it's already pre-wetted. The paper probably have expanded a little bit as compared to a new condition. So usually I like to smooth them out a little bit before I put it on, so they can see all the triangular Delta press logo over there. So now I'm going to turn this over. Make sure that you screw this on tight. If not, later when you press, there will be water leaking out. Right, so now you can turn it over, and then make sure that you get a server or a cup. Right, and this helped me measure the amount of water I'm going to use. I'm going to push back my camera a little bit so that you can see. Let me do a little bit of zoom out. Right, so we are using about 14 grams of coffee beans, and then let's do around 220. Right, this thing can hold about 200 grams of water before your rubber on top actually touches the water. So what you can do is actually you can fill up the water to maybe less than 200, then you can fill again as you plunge it through. So right now, let me try to fill to 150. You can see that I'm not starting the timer. Okay, let's go around 180. Right, this is around 185. So what I'm going to do is make sure that you put this on. This will protect you from water or the heat from the water burning your hands. And when I want to push through, I make sure that I remove it from the coffee scale, because I do not want to damage my scale over there. Right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up gently, releasing some water to do a little bit of pre-infusion, or some sort of like a bloom. So I'm going to gently press the water down. Because I do not want the water to be jetted out at a very high pressure. I just want it to be gently sprinkling over the coffee bed. Right, I forgot to start the timer. Right, the Delta press takes a little bit longer to make coffee as compared to my AeroPress. My AeroPress is a lot simpler. Right, so I press it down. So now I can actually add more water. So let's put back on. You can see the water is still, I think, let me see. Let's add, just now it was around 180. So let's add another 40 grams of water. Right, so this should give us around 220 grams of water. Cover this back, and then I'm going to do my second plunge. Put back up again. So I'm going to do a 2 separate plunge, so let's do it equally. So Let's plunge it slowly. So this works pretty similar to what we do for filter coffee. So I think this coffee will give you more clarity and slightly less on the body, because the contact time of water to the coffee ground it's lesser as compared to the AeroPress. So I'm going to pull the last one up. Okay, and then I'm going to push through all the way for the last push. It still generates a hissing sound as similar to the AeroPress. Later you'll hear that. Okay, usually I'll do a last push to purge all the water out. Okay, and then we complete our coffee brew. Right, let's also check out how the coffee is. And I would say it is definitely more messy than as compared to AeroPress, but anyway you're going to rinse your AeroPress brew chamber as well, so it doesn't really make much difference. So same thing, I'm going to unscrew this. Right, the filter paper should be stuck on top, and then you can just slowly peel this off. Right, you can see this is slightly on the coarser side because it's darker roasted coffee, so I didn't want to over extract the coffee. So what I usually do is I will bring my knock box over, and then usually I'll just do a knock on top. Right, I'm not too sure how hardy this plastic is going to be, so usually I do a gentle knock and all the coffee ground will drop out quite easily. And then after this, I'm just going to give it a quick rinse. At the same time, I'm going to rinse my filter paper so that I can continue to reuse this. Right, so let's clean this up. And one of the good way to wash this is fill the chamber again with water. Right, and then do like what you do normally, pull up the chamber. Right, and then you push hard this time. Right, and I'll repeat this again. Right, to clean the nozzle. Do it a few times so that make sure all the water is out. Okay, and there you go. Right, the chamber here hardly get any coffee, so this is usually very clean because this only has clean water in contact with it doesn't get in contact with the coffee ground, so the rubber here only touches the water. Right, whereas this chamber is where all the coffee ground is. So let me rinse it again, and then there you go. So the cleaning is not something that's terrible, right? It's just something that you get used to. So make sure it's dry, screw it back, put the rubber on, and then there you go. Most important part, how does the coffee taste? This is a rather old coffee, so I do not know how the coffee is going to turn out, but let's just give it a try. Oh, it's actually pretty nice actually. It's a very clean coffee. There's a certain sweetness. It has a slight citrusy, even though this coffee has been roasted a while back. I'm actually kind of surprised by... Oh, okay, there is a certain smokiness that's surfaced. but I can taste the coffee is definitely cleaner as compared to my AeroPress method. It tastes like my filter coffee, right? So I'm going to experiment with the Delta Press more and then give you my feedback once I use it enough to compare with the AeroPress. But this coffee has been roasted. I believe this sample was given to me in January and now is in coming to end of March already. So it's more than 2 months, and I do not know the roast state of these beans. Yeah, but I like this coffee actually. It has a very malty taste, malty. A little bit smoky, which I like it too. This is one of the better dark roasted beans I've ever tasted black. So congratulations, I think you have roasted this well. I will give a feedback to my friends over in Japan who have sent this sample to me. I get to meet this person when he came down to Singapore to try to promote his beans and his roastery. So congratulations, I think this is good beans. I will share more of his information on the description down below. If you're interested, you can take a look. He has a very beautiful roastery inside a vineyard, whereby he actually show casts of the whiskey barrels, and that's where he ages his beans inside and do the fermentations. So it's very interesting. If I get a chance, I hope I can visit there if I have a chance, right? So thank you for watching. This is CY once again. Remember to hit the like and subscribe button. I will see you in the next one.